Here we go. I'm Caden Ridings.
Back again.
And I'm here with
Seth Henley.
And welcome
to the
Big Red Sports Show. So, thank you.
Appreciate that.
We got a couple of different things going on today. Of course, we got the previous game from last week where Loudon took on Stone Memorial. Big game for Loudon. Probably struck some fans after the first half, but, you know.
I mean, I talked to a couple of people after the game. They said that we had them nervous. And I was very nervous myself going into halftime, but
I think I was too. Different game.
We handled it. So
it was probably one of the more important games we've been in all year. Definitely most stressful, but it was also the most fun, and I always remember it. So I think it was just a good experience and much needed going to the next week anyway.
Definitely not forget that.
It's just that time of the year, and I think the playoffs are always like that. Mm-hmm. So, but with that being said, let's go ahead and check out the Stone Memorial game and see kind of what Loudon did. Okay, home game, by the way.
So we're going to be protecting the end zone here. There's a hit. Ball comes out. That's a fumble. And who's on that?
Stone Memorial was up 14-0.
That's Deshaun Reynolds covering that fumble.
That's a big play.
We are getting on offense. We're in empty. Again. You see it a lot. Redskins in empty. Scrivener. He's going to use his legs. Found some space, and he cuts up field. And he is tripped up at about the 10-yard line.
Yeah.
That's a 30-yard gain.
He shows his elite speed all the time. Ability to use his legs and get out of the pocket.
Redskins in an empty again. Trips right. Bronson's going to roll out again, once again. Down the sideline. Boom! Runs a man over. Or was that a spin move?
I can't really tell.
Can't really tell. It's a little far. Either way,
he was all over
down
the place.
To the goal line.
On Friday night. Scrivener calls for the snap. Drops back. Looks right immediately. Goes deep. And that's Seth Henley himself. Makes a play. Makes the man miss. And takes off down the sideline where he's brought down at about the 12-yard line. It's a good catch. Tough play, most definitely. But we'll take it. That was big right there. We needed that. Scrivener calls for a snap, a little low, takes it off left, and he finds the end zone. Nice play right there. Bronson, once again, showing the ability to use his legs, and he showed us that all year. And that's it right there. Your final score is Loudon 33, Stone Memorial 21. After a rough first half, the Redskins where they at one point were down 14-0. I think with Stone Memorial coming out in a whole different offense, kind of set off a different tone. But I think with Loudon's elite defense, I think that allowed them to, go into halftime, adjust, and come back out and do what they got to do, and then just let the offense work.
Now, I just want to add on. After we adjusted, after those first two quick scores, we outscored them 33-6. So once we got our feet underneath us, we were rolling.
Yeah.
So let's hope this week we can come out with our feet underneath us, and not miss tackles, of course. Come out there.
I think that was necessary. That was much needed because I think our defense, that's not something that happens to us all the time.
No. So
I just think that it was great showing that we have that ability to adjust to anything, especially in the playoffs. So I think that's good moving forward. I think we go ahead and bring in our special guest this week.
You don't want to talk about the playoffs any? I mean, who we got?
Future? Let's talk about the future.
All right, let's talk about who we got. So coming up Friday, we're hosting a White County team. It's a very solid White County team. They'll probably be the best team we play. They got a stud quarterback who's a little injured and a good running back, so they're going to run the ball right at us, and we're going to have to be physical enough to stop it. Like I said last week, Coach Eric says that this team is good enough to beat us if we play bad. Last week we played bad and somehow beat them. This week I'm a little nervous that if we play bad, it'll be different. So we got to come out.
Come ready to play.
We got to come out firing, and we'll handle business.
I think so as well. I just think the big key thing for us is just understanding the fact that in the playoffs anything can happen. Anybody's capable of winning. Everybody's good now. It's pretty much a whole new season. It's just a lot more pressures on the line. You got people going home after these games, stuff like that, and seasons ending, and some people never play the game again. So it's just the pressure behind it that sets it apart from the regular season. But, I mean, just as
this one definitely means a lot more.
Yeah,
So
means a lot more as seniors coming from us. So,
speaking of seniors, we got one here right next to us. Let's bring him in. Xavier Dills.
Xavier Dills. Xavier, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing
Doing
well.
all right.
Yes, sir.
You glad to be on the show?
I sure am.
Ooh,
All right.
been waiting to have you on here. Been saving you.
So, well, since you're here, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. One thing I ask, at least every time, I'm pretty sure I'll start out with this. But since you're a different position group, so I've been talking to some defensive players mostly, but from your offensive perspective as a receiver and kind of like a, not like necessarily a wideout, more of a consistent slot or sometimes a running back, what is something on offense that you see that typically people from the stands like wouldn't see or wouldn't understand? Like what goes unnoticed from your position?
From my position, people really notice, I say, like, when you drop the ball more than, like, when you make a good play.
Right.
And most people don't see, like, when it's a run play, most people don't see the blocks we set.
Yeah, the importance of it too.
Yeah.
Because without those, I mean, sometimes plays just kind of crumble. I understand.
So, Xavier, I also ask this every week. I asked Charles this, and I asked Sebastian this. Now I'm going to ask you, what's your pregame routine? Tell me. What do you do that gets you locked in every week to go out there and play to the best of your ability?
I make sure to listen to the same 2 songs before a game.
And what's that?
Hell and Back and Standing in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite out of those 2, though?
I'd say probably Hell and Back because sometimes I watch the video with Tavon Austin in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I personally watch highlights sometimes before games.
Yeah,
So,
good.
I mean, it sounds kind of stupid if I say it out loud, but sometimes
Everybody does it. Everybody does it.
sometimes it helps.
Uh-huh.
But, okay. Let's go with pregame meal. I ask that a lot, too. Pregame meal. And every answer I've gotten so far has been different. So it's kind of just to see where everybody's at throughout the football team.
Okay.
What's your favorite
My favorite,
pregame meal?
probably chicken Alfredo.
Ooh, chicken Alfredo. See, and that's a different one. Charles was more of a
Chicken guy.
just a straight chicken
he
guy.
just said
Just
chicken.
more grilled chicken.
All he wants
and
on his plate is chicken.
Sebastian wanted some pizza spaghetti thing.
Pizza casserole
I didn't
spaghetti.
remember.
I don't
I didn't
know
even
what it
remember what
said.
it was.
I was just remembering the bath bomb he's talking about.
Yeah.
Bath bombs.
Okay, here's another one. Do you have any weird superstitions? Like, are you superstitious at all?
You're
'Cause I know I am.
Actually, yeah. When we go out to the receivers and the return people, my cleats have to be as tight as the other one. They can't be looser or tighter. They have to be the same.
Okay.
Like each cleat. So if one's loose, you have to retie both.
Yeah.
That way they're the exact same.
Yeah, or I'm going to
Okay.
crash out.
Crash out. All right.
I understand. I do. I'm the same way. I do a lot of stuff where I'll wear like the same. Like if we won the last game, whatever I wore, I wear the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So I understand the superstition. But
So, Xavier, I was going to ask you to do a Coach Harrigan impression, but now I'm just going to say, what's your favorite thing that Coach Harrigan says? What's that? What's your favorite thing that he says?
None of the less.
Nonetheless.
nonetheless,
Yeah.
it is a good one.
All right, so last question from me anyways is, how are you feeling about this upcoming game Friday? Being at home, having your fans right there behind that got your back. It's going to be loud. We're going to be ready. How do you feel?
I feel like it's a better opportunity for us, especially at home, because most of the away games we have are, like, farther.
Very further away, yeah.
Yeah, and our fans travel pretty good, but when we're at home, it feels like it's just like a different environment. So I feel like it'll be easier at home than it would be away.
Most definitely. All right. Well, I think that's a good spot to take it in there. thank you for joining us, of course. Like always, like all of our other guests, we appreciate you coming in. We thank you guys for tuning in to the sports show, and we hope to see you next week after our game versus White County. And make sure you stay tuned to see the result of that game. But I'm Caden Routings, and I'm joined by
Seth Henley,
and thank you for joining
the Big Red Sports Show.